Recently, there's been a lot of conversation about the international transfers and why everybody is moving to North America. And I hate to break it down very simply, but it's money, guys. Like, NA money is where it is. We've heard Turbo talk about it for years after he moved over from Sweden. The salaries are better. The opportunities are better. Sponsorship money is easier to find. Across the board, NA continues to thrive in that regard, except for literally every other category that actually matters. Talking healthcare, talking about the housing market. It's depressing living here, guys. Like, it's a tough reality. I'm trying to find a house. Why are teams moving here? Let's talk about the importance, and do the results really matter that much? When you take a step back and you look at teams that are transferring over, we have three prime examples. We've got Complexity, we've got Furia, and we've got Gen G, and all with varying results. Let's start with True Neutral, which then became Complexity. In their first year, results weren't that great. They weren't really going to majors. They had a couple where they played a tiebreaker against Space Station, were able to get it. But other than that, they kind of got the boot. The reality is you're losing more prize money. When you were in South America, you were winning and getting like the top of the prize pool. But that prize pool is still also only 30% at best of what it is in North America. So you're talking regionals are $100,000 in NA and they're $30,000 in EU. And if you win, you're pulling 6 to 9K. Realistically, as long as you're placing top 8 consistent, money-wise, you're not doing too bad. The other side of it is, now that you're in North America, the viewership is better. You're talking regionals are pulling, instead of 20, 30,000 viewers, you're pulling 50, 60, 70,000 viewers. You're also talking that when I stream on Twitch, I'm doing it during NA hours when more people are awake. Because most of Twitch viewership, like 65 to 70% of it, is NA. Bigger salaries in general because of the opportunities that come with it. So if I am with Complexity, a tier 1 organization, partnered with the Dallas Cowboys, Boo Cowboys, the opportunities are there, the facilities are there, the support is there. You know, maybe they prop you up a little bit better. Maybe you guys make more content. Maybe you have a bigger fan base. All these things kind of carry over. So while you do not make necessarily the majors or the world championships, you are getting more eyes on you, a better chance to build your branding, better longevity, more chances for networking, sponsorship opportunities to get associated to. And depending on how you leverage that, it might be more beneficial. We're going to talk about Furia. Same thing. Furia comes over as the South American #1 team, and now they have most likely a significantly better salary that they're getting paid. So sustainability, not dependent on results, unless obviously Furia decides to dock them for results. But now it comes down to the competitive integrity side. As a competitor, I want to go to the major. I'm playing to compete. Money is secondary to an extent. So does Furia have those internal questions of, okay, we're not going to the major now. Did we make the right choice? To which I compare to Complexity. Complexity was the exact same situation. They didn't make it, and now look at them. They have accommodated as well as adjusted to the new play styles. They are getting, the big thing we haven't talked about, the better competition. Realistically, how many teams are there in South America? And it is getting better. And I have that struggle because South America is going to continue to stay that way if all their best teams export and go to North America, which I think is a problem. We've seen this in other esports as well, where what they end up doing is they actually put a international trade lock where you can only do one international transfer per team or something like that. Rocket League's a little bit crazier because in games like League of Legends, they don't want all the Koreans coming over and then just being an NA team full of Koreans. They wanted to make sure you have to trickle that in over time. But Rocket League only has 3 players per roster, so I'm not sure how they're going to do that. I wouldn't be surprised if they do an international trade lock and make it so there's limitations on that, and pair that eventually as well with a age restriction increase where it goes to like 17 or 18 with the grandfather clause. Some of these things that we've seen in other esports, I assume in time will come to, just Rocket League and Rocket League esports because there's a reason why others do it. But a lot of it is also to make sure that South America can still develop and grow. If all their best talent just goes elsewhere, it is going to stagnate, and then it's to a point where it's like if they don't ever grow, draft, develop, then how are they going to get better? And it basically means it's still just a 2-horse race at the majors, which we don't want. And the nice thing is they still continue to find new talent and prop themselves out. We've talked about Team Secret, the club, Crew, and some of the other ones, Parabellum. There's a bunch of teams in there that are very talented, but the difficulty is most people, without me saying that, have no idea who those teams are. And by them coming to North America, they get all those advantages. Yeah, it's very fruitful to come here. And the craziest thing is say it doesn't work out. Say Furia's situation doesn't work out. Say Complexity's situation doesn't work out. They're already here. Orgs are already aware of how talented they are. They can just go to another team. They can just transfer to another roster. Who knows? Maybe Furia and Complexity do some firm handshakes and swap some players in the next trade window. Again, these are things that can develop and give them opportunity as more and more start coming in. So I think it's a really good reality, but at the end of the day, do the results matter? I think to an extent. I think results obviously matter. You need to prove that it was a good decision financially for the organization you're with, but also just to prove that, our region isn't a joke. You are a representation of South America, even though you are a North American team performing in a North American league. But the difficulty is if you keep coming over and losing, then that deterrent and everybody else is kind of going to joke you. It's going to meme on you. It's going to be received poorly that it's just like another team coming over just for them to not perform. But we've seen with Complexity after their first year that the results are there. And Furia is only getting better and has been super close to making majors. We haven't even talked about Gen G yet. Europe comes over, they immediately take over the region, and it only took one split. Realistically, I think it's a good opportunity. It's a good option. I know Gen G guys are making bank, and I want to say the numbers, but it's unfathomable to some people, but it is like their salary equates to over $500,000 per year for the three of them. That's not including the coach. It's not including staff. It's unreal. Gen G's got to be very happy they have Mobile One as a title sponsor, because if they didn't, I can't imagine the cost of that. You're looking at these people coming over, and I can tell you, Gen G, when Nolly was with K-Corp, one of the best teams right now with one of the biggest names with Kamato in team streams, they were making nowhere near that money. So at the end of the day, yeah, you want to come over, compete, and do well, but at the same time, how long is an esports career? 2-3 years, unless you're one of the unique ones like Garrett G and JNaps and all that kind of stuff, K-Dops. And how long can you do it? At the end of the day, you got to make it count when it matters most. And Gen G is definitely doing that. They are, have you guys seen that new apartment with him, Arsenal, Roldas, and them? Like, it's a skyrise apartment in Dallas. It's sick. That's not cheap. So yeah, they're doing okay. And I think it makes sense for them to keep coming over to North America, because it's not just about the results. It's all the things career-wise, longevity-wise, when you look at the big picture, that it pays off for us. I'm also excited to see the draft and development process over the time, and when we start seeing players like Card or Jan go to NRG. Maybe they don't go to a South American team. Maybe they go to an NA team that's pre-existing. Again, language barriers and stuff like that are always something interesting that we in North America don't worry about. But then over in Europe, you've got a player from like Germany, England, and Denmark or something like that, and they all just decide to speak English. But then they get the French Revolution and everybody's just like, yeah, I want to speak my native language. Curious if that's ever going to happen in North America. A lot of things to ponder.